Okay guys, today I'm going to show you how to install a Pi-hole. If you're not familiar with Pi-hole, it is a black hole for internet advertisements. It's a really good first result there. So DNS, I always try to explain to you guys, DNS is like a telephone book for the internet. So I may not know who Google, or I may not know who 74.128, whatever is, but I know who Google is. So I can type in Google into my URL bar, and my DNS server will resolve Google's IP address. Right? So I can ping Google, and it'll resolve out to 74.125.136.138. And my computer will connect to that IP address, depending on server load and those kinds of things. So DNS, like I said, it's a very simple form. It's like a telephone book. It resolves IP addresses to host names. So what I want to show you today is how to install a Pi-hole. And what Pi-hole does is it blocks a lot of internet advertising, and in blocking the internet advertising, it also blocks a lot of malware, things of that nature. And you can set it up to do a lot of different things. You can set up your own block list and stuff inside it to block certain websites, certain types of filters. But it's really easy to set up. As the name implies, it is meant to be installed on a Raspberry Pi. Let me see. We have one in the class. It may not be running. Check and see. The Raspberry Pi is a small credit card sized computer. Everything's built into the board. System on chip. It's up. Well, I'm going to show you guys how to set one up in a virtual machine. The process for setting it up, going through and doing the install is basically the same. Setting up in a VM as it is setting it up on a Raspberry Pi. If you've never heard of a Raspberry Pi before, I don't want to go too far off course, but Raspberry Pi, as you can see, small credit card size computer. Whenever you buy these, $35 for the base model. Comes with a USB-C power adapter or power port. It doesn't actually come with a power adapter. You have to buy that separately. 2 mini HDMI ports for visuals, for video. Then the operating system you install is installed on a micro SD card that plugs in the backside of the board here. And this one has a built-in gigabit network card, to USB 3, to USB 2. But they're meant to be like mounted to a wall, inside of a cabinet, whatever, and you can use them for all kinds of different stuff. The people who built built Pi-hole, designed it to go on one of these little devices. For me at home, I actually run mine in my own ProxMox server at home, and the amount of ads you block is just insane with this little device. So let's go through and build another one. I'll show you guys how to go through and do this. So I'm going to go to PVE. It's just the base name of this machine. Never actually renamed it. I'm going to call this Pi-hole 2. I'm going to put it in the admin resource pool. That one belongs to me. So all the students have their own resource pools, all broken down by group. But I have my own, mainly so you guys can't delete my stuff. I'm going to put it on Debian 9.4 base. This is a net install. That way it's really small, and I don't have to worry about going through and installing a whole bunch of different stuff I don't need. I don't need a desktop. All I really need is a Debian machine with SSH. So graphics card is default. It's fine. Bus device SCSI, it's also fine. 32 gigs is a little bit overkill, but that's fine. We can actually do caching with it too. It can cache domain names. So this is a Xeon machine. So we're going to do 1 Xeon core for Raspberry Pi will be way overkill. 2 gigs of RAM. It can run off a gig just fine. I think ours is running off of, let me see, I think it's maybe, this is the one for the classroom, maybe running 2 gigs. And this is what the interface looks like. I just logged into the one here. This is the interface for it. I built it the same way. I build all of them. I like Raspberry Pis, but to me it's just something else I have to worry about losing power. All of my VM servers are on battery backup, so anyway. So you guys can see memory usage is really low. It's using like 4.1%. Of course, IP address, all this kind of stuff. These are your block list of block domains. I haven't updated this one lately, so I'll go ahead and run that. And you can tell host name is Pi-hole. Don't go into a whole lot of complicated naming with this. And I have an update available. I think 5.1 is out now. But anyway, this is a very, very small machine, but it does a whole lot of stuff for you. It can block a lot of the stuff that you guys are trying to go to inadvertently. So, I don't know if you've ever heard the term drive-by download. A lot of times drive-by downloads come from ads that come up on the pages. So like say you're going to Yahoo or MSN or whatever, and there's an ad that loads on the side of the page. A lot of times those ad servers get hacked or get infected, and then they start, make sure I've got this set, then they start sending out malware to everybody who loads that ad. So a lot of people make their money off of advertisements. That's how Google got so big. Of course, this is going to be on YouTube, so there are ads pretty much everywhere. Everybody makes money off of ads, but not all of them are good, and they can be just a little bit overwhelming sometimes. Trying to go through and do your work or whatever it is you're doing, and you get a bunch of banner ads popping up. So graphical install, I'm just going to next finish this. It's all pretty simple. Of course, you guys can see what it's doing back here. I dropped it down to 1 gig of RAM. The other one has 2. I think they changed the base model of the Raspberry Pi. I think the base model now has 2 gigs. Don't quote me on that. But it came out with 1 gig and a quad core processor. Like I say, this is a Xeon, so it really doesn't need 2, 3, 4 cores to do what it's doing. All right, so United States, American English. That's all I speak. If you speak something else, then of course you change it to whatever. And the reason I'm installing Debian 9 and not Debian 10 is the last few times I've installed this, I've had issues getting it to work with Debian 10. Now, Debian 10's been out for quite a while now, but I've had a few issues with it. Of course, you can also set this up as not just a DNS server, but you can also set it as a DHCP server for your network too if you don't have one. I think we have the Pi-hole in the classroom set up to maybe hand out about 5 IPs. I'm a big believer in static IP addresses. I like everything to be static, nothing to ever change. It's a lot easier to work on that way. So root password, I'm just going to make it our usual classroom password. Full name, ITSM. Shouldn't take too awful long. Of course, whenever it starts to download updates, being that it's Debian 9, it may take a little while. I'll pause the video when that happens. I won't make you guys sit through all of that. It's just one command. I think we may have to install git. I don't remember. Let me see. Go to install. Yeah, so method 1, clone our repository and run, or wget -o basic install .shell, and then point it back to the installer to run it. Curl, that was the one-step automated install I was thinking about, and that's a small s. Make sure you take note of that. One-step automated install. All right, so we are Central Time. And if you're on YouTube and you're watching this video, I teach an IT class. This is what I do. So I make all the videos for my students and try to make everything as easy as possible. Hence the name. So finish partitioning, right changes the disk. Yes. It shouldn't take very long. We can go back and check the other one, see if it's, oh, it doesn't like my browser. I'm using Edge, and the reason I'm using Edge is because I have a lot of bookmarks and other stuff opened up in my other one. I think I have Chrome and a few other ones installed on here. I like Firefox. So don't want to scan another CD. No proxies. Just download everything over FTP. Of course, if you're installing this on a Raspberry Pi, you can download the Raspberry Pi OS and you can just burn it to a SD card. If you get the light version, it takes up a lot less space. Let me see, downloads. See, we have Raspberry Pi OS, previously called Raspbian, and then Noobs. Noobs has a lot of other stuff that comes along with it. We really don't need this for that. Need that for this version of what we're doing. So if your minimal image based on Debian Buster, here's 2020-05-27. It's fairly new. It's 432 megabytes. Once you download the zip, you can flash it onto an SD card. They also have an installer that you can download. Raspberry Pi Imager for Windows, Mac OS, or Ubuntu, and then it will just flash the image for you. You tell it which version of Raspberry Pi OS you want to install, pointing towards your SD card, and then it will install it for you. Once you boot up the Raspberry Pi, if you want, you can do it with a full desktop. You don't need it. We use those around the school for various things like time clocks and things of that nature. But if you're just using a headless machine just for this, right, you don't need a full-blown environment. So you can point it toward the SD card and tell it to burn. It'll burn it for you. Then once you boot the machine up, it'll go through and expand the SD card, and you can go through and do the rest of the configuration there. SSH into the machine, or if you have a micro HDMI, plug it up to your monitor, keyboard, and mouse, and go through the install that way. This is just a quick and dirty way to do it in a VM. I never like participating in surveys. Alright, so we don't want a desktop environment. No print server. I do want to do SSH. Don't want to leave the standard system utilities there. Pi-hole will install its own web server, so I don't need that. As you guys can see, this is the machine, Pi-hole 2. It's using 900 megabytes right now because it's copying everything and installing the software. Once we get everything installed, this thing is really, really low on RAM usage, which is good. I think we have to install curl. Yeah, I think we have to install curl. It's one thing we have to do when we get done with this part of it. Sorry, my phone's going off. Again. Installing Grub. Alright, so installation is complete. Continue. Once the machine reboots, ProxMox is smart enough to not boot back to the CD, so it should boot into the OS on the hard drive. So Pi-hole 2 login. I created a login for the classroom accounts. So here we are, right? Don't think I've set a password for root yet. Let's see. Sudo command not found. That's great. So now I'm root. All right. I'm going to create a new, this was a minimal install, right? We don't have sudo installed. Create a new password for root. Of course, whenever you install the Pi-hole software, Pi is username. I think Raspberry is the password. If you're installing the Raspberry Pi OS. Yeah. Apt install. Curl. Just remember what the name was. Alright, so that won't take very long. So exit, and then exit out of that. So now we're Debian GNU Linux 9, Pi-hole 2, TTY. So we'll close that out. That was dumb. Alright, let's open it back up. I was going to show you how to SSH into it, but I don't know what the address is. So 230, right? So 10.0 to 6.230. So putty, going to SSH into the machine 10.0 to 6.230. And yours sits, we just created it, so I guess we can trust the key. So we're going to issue So now we are root at this machine. So now this doesn't have to be there anymore. We can do curl dash little s big L HTTPS. Can't type today. Install .py dash hole .net, and we're going to pipe that over to bash born again shell to run. So now we're root user check, downloading everything it needs. So this installer will transform your device into a network-wide ad blocker. Right? Pi-hole's free, but powered by your donations. If you guys have the extra coin, I suggest you donate to these guys. They do a lot of work for all of us. So the Pi-hole's a server, so it needs a static IP address to function properly. In the next section, you can choose to use your current network settings DHCP or to manually edit them. There are some that you guys can go through and choose that will do filtering for you. There's filtered and DNSSEC, so secure DNS. We'll just leave it at Google for now. We can get Stephen Black's unified host list and then malware domains. And then, of course, block IPv4 and IPv6. We're going to leave the IP address at 10.0.6230 gateway.1. Okay, and we want to install the web admin interface. If you install this light TPD will be installed. It's on. Do you want to log queries? Yes. I want to show everything. So once this goes through, we can go and log into the interface. What's more runtime on this thing? 17, 18 minutes maybe. Don't want to go too long into this. Try to keep everything under 30 minutes. And then configure your device. This is the password. Of course, this will change. So we can actually change that. Just to be on the safe side, let's open it up in another console or another browser window. 0 to 6.230. And there's admin, login. I copied and pasted the password. So right now we have 0 clients. Host name is Pi-hole2, right? So you guys see that ITSM Pi-hole2. Domains in block list 84,273. I like a bigger list. I think our other one is like 1.2 million, not 1.104 million. We block quite a bit of things, but you guys can go through and play around with it and see what you think. You can add different things to the blacklist, different types of ways of adding that. If something is getting blocked, you can add it to the pass list. Let's do the last 7 days. You can see June 12th was permitted DNS queries, 2,088. There are quite a few. Most of the students are in fiber optics right now, so nobody's in the classroom. Query log shows all the different queries. You could click, select date and range, and pull all that. I don't want to do all that. Top list, dashboard. But this is our classroom one. This is the one we just set up, and you guys can go through, and all you have to do is point your machines back to it for the DNS queries. As you can see right now, we have 0 clients. well, I guess I can go ahead and do that too. We have time. See, Manjaro. Let's open up the console. All right, so system's up to date. We go through configure network connections. I'm going to change my DNS server over to the new Pi-hole so you guys can see what it's doing. So IPv4, everything is automatic. I'm going to set that to 0 to 6.230. And apply, and OK. And of course on your router too, of course our router manages the entire school, and I don't want to go through and change it for this one machine. But you can point your router back to, for your DHCP, whenever you're handing out DHCP to your clients, to point back to the Raspberry Pi, so that all of your clients automatically get that in their DHCP request whenever they receive their IP address and subnet mask and gateway. They can receive that as well, and they will automatically be set up for it. This is a new Manjaro 20 I installed this morning. Let's go to Yahoo. Yahoo usually has a lot of ads. And Pi-hole does not like this browser. Let's change our settings. Let me see. I didn't disconnect and reconnect. That may be the problem. Never fails. Going to show somebody something. Tell you what, let's just do all of this manually. Make everything easier for me. So we'll do add. Do something higher in the range. Let's just do 231. And apply. And okay. So you should be using name server is 2. Did I punch in 2? I bet I did, didn't I? I did not. That's the one that's getting automatically from the other DHCP server, because the other DHCP server is this one, right? Now we have clients. One client, 14 queries, right? Just this one machine. And I know there's a faster, easier way to do that, but I'm trying to figure out what the problem is. So let's see. So let's go to Yahoo. Like I say, they have a lot of ads. Like I said, this is a new machine, new Manjaro we built this morning. just to kind of check out the new version. Thought I picked the right one. It's connected. Gateway, everything's fine. Okay. What did I do? My firewall blocks any other DNS requests, but so that will cause some problems, right? ODS server has been selected. Custom. There we go. Save. So there was no upstream DNS server. I mean, guys, if I ever make a mistake, I will own it completely. I make mistakes all the time. It's just part of IT. If you ever meet an IT guy that says they don't make mistakes, you're being lied to. There we go. So yahoo.com. I'll tell you what, let's open this up in another window so we can go full screen with it. Make it a little easier on the eyes. You can see some of the ads are loading, some of them are not. There's a website out there called Can You Block Me, I think. Let me see. Or Can You Block It? Yeah, Can You Block It? Ad block tester. So once you go through and get all of your blacklist set up, you can go through and check it with canyoublockit.com, and it'll show you a whole lot of ads. I hate these. So ad blocker detected. Please consider reading this notice. And you can see it's blocking some of the stuff. Here's you can look at me, on the ad now. It's pretty funny. But anyway, you guys get the idea. There are all kinds of different blacklists out there you can choose from, or if you have just an ungodly amount of time, you can create your own. For me, I like the fast, easy way of doing that with Pi-hole. I think you guys will like it too. Now I've got 2 clients. Imagine that. So anyway, I'm gonna shut this down. Don't need it anymore. Just doing this to show you guys how to do it. I'll probably make this a skills test. You'll have to build your own. So system's powering off. Go back to PVE. Pi-hole 2. Yep. So no VNC. And my fatal error from putty here. Everything failed. Close. So go ahead and delete that. Make sure I'm deleting the right one. Purge. Do not need that anymore. Well, that's all I got, guys. I'm just showing you how to install a Pi-hole. Some of you guys had asked for that. If you have anything else, just write it down or send me an email.